take cover. Enemy planes are roaring towards the German capital. Great machines weighed down with bombs have broken through Berlin's ring of anti-aircraft defenses, are raining destruction on the city. High explosive shells burst in the streets. The day is darkened by great clouds of poison gas. For half an hour, the deadly attack continues. Then the roar of warplanes is replaced by the jangle and scream of ambulances. The dead and wounded are carried away. In masks and gas-proof suits, the fire brigade takes control, clears the wreckage from shambled streets. And finally, the decontamination squads to neutralize the poison. And the German capital has staged the most elaborate and realistic air raid in her history. In imagination, we take you to Paris on some gay evening of the future. The boulevards are framed in lights. Suddenly comes the roar of an explosion. From every corner of the city, the sirens scream their warning of approaching death. Paris becomes a city of darkness. Louder grows the roar of the enemy planes. Nearer comes the danger of choking death. Across the sky, the searchlights trace their patterns of light. The air raid is on. Through acid fumes, the Defense Corps carries out its work of rescue, framed in the light of dimmed lamps, accompanied by the crash of guns. It's just a prophecy for the future. The world prays that it may never come true. Sirens scream out the prelude to a scene of dramatic realism, for a mock air raid has all the elements of tragic urgency. The streets are cleared. Church bells toll out the danger of poison gas and incendiary bombs. The city is wreathed in a cloud that chokes and kills. The defense squads rush into action to fight the menace of flaming bombs. In some streets, aerial torpedoes will lie embedded in the pavements. In others, incendiary bombs will still be white hot. Then the anti-gas squads and the first aid parties for those injured by burning gas and explosion. For mustard gas does more than choke the lungs. It burns the skin wherever it touches. It eats through clothes and shoes and brings up great blisters. The city's broken communications must be restored. Bomb craters filled with the poisonous fluid must be neutralized. For everything that mustard touches becomes contaminated and has to be removed. And at last, as the decontamination squads begin their work of killing the poison, the sirens signal the all clear. When it's peacetime preparation for national defense, they do things 100% on the continent.
Air raid, take cover. Naples gets a vivid thrill that compares with the omnipresent terror of Vesuvius. A mock air attack is launched on the city. Incendiary and gas bombs are hurled from the skies, but the town is prepared. Troops and firemen in gas helmets fight blazing buildings and give a realistic lesson in rescuing victims hemmed in by flame and gas, while anti-aircraft machine guns belch defiance at the raiders. Italy, like other nations, is alive to the peril from the air and trains her civil population to meet it by such demonstrations as this.
Once again, war in Spain flares into grim scenes of dramatic death. These pictures are not attractive, but the events that they report are not attractive either. For in war, the most important thing that happens is that something or somebody gets destroyed. And victory comes to the side that destroys the greatest number of somebodies or somethings. Even moving pictures cannot show war in all its horror and ugliness. They can show some of the violence and destruction, but they cannot show the will to kill, the even greater will to live, the utter heartbreak of a whole people, as once again the frightened, shouting crowd gathers in Barcelona's streets and the drone of bombing planes fades into the distance. It is right that we should see such pictures, for the love of peace has no meaning unless it is based on a knowledge of war's terrors. Only then can we fully understand the blessings of peace. Dead men have indeed died in vain if living men do not learn from their misery. As Japan stands guard over Shanghai and her warships land still more troops in the central war zone, once again China's richest city becomes the battle center, and the Chinese slum area of Shanghai receives its worst chastisement of the whole campaign. Japan's troops go into action as warships on the river, land batteries and Chinese artillery open up, and hell breaks loose over Shanghai. In shattered streets and crooked alleyways, it's sword to bayonet and hand to throat encounters, and from the air a rain of bombs begins to fall, and you can see them explode above the rooftops. One plane drops an aerial torpedo, and here it comes, whizzing down. But why wait for the future? We can show you what war is today, as once again Japanese planes raid Canton. This Japanese pilot was shot down in a sky battle with Chinese airmen. What his fate will be, only the Cantonese army officers know. But the wreckage of homes and factories testifies to Nipponese marksmanship that chalked up nearly 300 dead and several hundred wounded civilians. Nearly 2,000 bombs have been dropped on the Canton to Hankow railway in a desperate effort to cut China's main line of supply. The air raids that take their horrible toll in the cities are for psychological effect, for this is modern war, and in modern war, it's women and children first.
Once romantic city of several million souls, Canton today lies desolated by the pitiless war gods. A Pathé cameraman brings you exclusive pictures of a populace in agony. Wide areas of the city have been laid waste by enemy bombs, and fires are still raging. The haggard faces of the women speak only too eloquently of their sufferings. In such a shambles, thousands of bodies have been found, but the gods of war are not appeased. The work of removing the dead goes on and on. A mother weeps over her dead child's body, while other mites, some badly wounded, receive first aid. The Red Cross workers are fighting another glorious battle in the cause of stricken humanity. Canton, formerly a gay, flourishing commercial center, is now a city of tears.
The Chinese capital is being bombed before the newsreel camera. Japanese planes are zooming overhead. In one sweep across the rooftops of the city, you can see more than a dozen bombs exploding. Here is the reality of war. And then the aftermath. The American embassy, in spite of the stars and stripes on its roof. So Japan celebrates the first anniversary of the war in the East. It was just over a year ago that bullets first zinged on Pekin's Marco Polo Bridge. Japan claimed an incident and marched south. 1 year of destruction, 1 year of death. Many a military expert has tried to prophesy what will happen when a modern city is attacked by an enemy from the air. Now they need no longer prophesy. Here is a merciless bombardment of Madrid before our very eyes. Such scenes are happening again and again, a tragic story that our moving cameras tell better than any picture or description. First the distant zooming, growing louder, louder, then the warning siren, and death falls from the skies. Despairing people seek vainly for shelter for their loved ones. And at night the city is lit by a devouring glare. This is the mark of aerial warfare. This is the mark of aerial warfare. And remember that every week aerial warfare is becoming more efficient at destruction. That this might happen to any city, anywhere, at any time.